Time to check out the farm life. Some people don't know, what really goes on behind the door sometimes. Where things go and how things are done. Everybody says your milk comes in a gallon container. Don't tell you where it comes from. Or what goes into making that milk, and what it takes, the well-being of taking care of them animals, and wheat and corn and all that. There's a lot of work involved in it. Everybody thinks it's just an 8 to 5 job. I wish I had that 8 to 5 job. Especially during wheat harvest and long hours.
I mean, agriculture is not talked a whole lot about. I mean, you're not going to get a class in college unless you're going to certain colleges that's actually going to offer an ag class, right?
What would you say keeps you guys coming back for generation after generation?
Just the love of it, right? I mean, it's not always about money. It's about the quality of life. No better place to raise a family than on a farm. It instills the values. I really think that, and not only farmers, but country people have different values than people that are in the cities or in town. It's a passion, right? I mean, it's like anything else. I mean, if you have a passion towards something and you like it, you're going to continue to do it, right? I started in 1978, senior out of high school, with right here, right where we're standing. This is where I started at, right here. And it took me, so I've been doing it 37 years. So it took me 30 years to get to where I was at. I mean, we had our big time struggles. I mean, big time. It's like I don't know how we're gonna make it. 202 put a lot of guys out of business. My dad experienced the 50s. So it happened in 50, 52, 53, 54, and he kept telling me, it's going to be another 50s. Well, I didn't believe him because I didn't experience it. And I said, it always rains, it always snows, and it didn't. You don't have any water in the reservoir. So we spent all of our water getting the crop irrigated and getting it to grow, and then we was out of water. So it's up and running, and then it's like, well, we ain't got no more water. So we didn't produce a crop. We had sugar beets that year that should have made, or would normally make, 30 ton to the acre, made 5. It was a disaster. It was a disaster. And then in this industry, there's a saying that we all have, and that's, well, there's always next year. So no matter how the year turns out, you always say, well, there's always next year, right?
I had a dog, I had a blue heeler dog, and this guy, he come to the farm to help us when we were digging sugar beets. He come to drive truck, and we were broke down one day, and his dog always stayed in the back of the pickup, And that day the dog jumped out because it was hot, and he jumped down and got underneath the pickup, and he didn't realize he drove out. He drove across the dog. Well, and the guy was so heartbroken and everything, and I knew he liked my dog and stuff, and like a week later he come back by the farm, and I says, "You want my dog?" And he's, "Well, I'd love your dog," because he was in love with him, so I give him my dog, and I don't know, I haven't gotten the dog since. But he bred my dog, and he's had puppies and all this stuff.
See, my grandpa moved from Boulder to farm out here in 1945, and our family's been in the state of Colorado since it was the very late 1800s, 1888 or 1889, that they moved to the Fort Lupton area.
This piece of equipment took place of two of our older ones. So now we only need one person to plant our crops instead of before it took two people to do it, plus one person delivering seed and fertilizer. Now with this, we can basically plant half a day with one person without having to fill up with seed or fertilizer. Then halfway through the day, somebody comes out, brings seed and fertilizer, and then you plant the rest of the day. And it's more efficient. You get more done per day.
We are the few, and we like to be strong. We have to be involved, and I think one of our shortcomings as an industry, as we talked before, is that we have not connected with the consumer, and I don't know how we do that. When the consumer just looks at the food at King Soopers or Safeway or Whole Foods or wherever it might be, they're not connected with the person who's raised it. We need to somehow educate consumers that we're out here. We're a hard-working group of people. We add a lot to our society, and we just need to connect better with them.
They can go to Facebook and the internet and find any article they want to satisfy their point of view about American agriculture, but our city cousins aren't getting the full story of what we do. We're not out here to harm the environment. We're not out here to harm the soil. My whole goal as a farmer is to provide for my family and to be able to make our farm better than when I took over, so when my son takes over, he gets a better farm than when my dad took over. The whole goal is for us is to pass that farm on to the next generation, and it's a great honorable thing, I think, to be able to do that.